There are some moments that change everything. For Cole LaBrant, it was a 6-second Vine. He was 16 from a small town in Alabama, and tens of millions of people never looked away. The LaBrant family built one of the largest family platforms on the internet. But that's not why I wanted to sit down with Cole. We're both in the middle of it, trying to build something that lasts. 2 dads, 10 kids, 1 table. At least I do. At least I'll just say that about me, is that there's always that tension of both.
It was almost hard for me to say yes to this podcast.
When they get older and they actually need it, it's not.
Because I know that's like who my wife fell in love with, and I want my kids to see that.
Probably every dad's biggest fear.
I think it's impossible to pass on real faith to your kids.
She looks up at me. I'm getting emotional just saying it. She goes, I trust you.
The hardest season that I've been through as a dad.
Bro, this has been so good. This one's for every dad who's in it, who's trying, building, showing up, even when it's hard. Welcome to another episode of the Talents Podcast. I'm Cody Williams, and today I have a guest that I'm very excited about, and I've been looking forward to this for a long time. In a few minutes, you'll understand why. But there's one thing I want to set straight as we start. A lot of people probably don't know this, but this guest today and I combined have over 40,003,990 followers combined between the two of us.
Wow,
so, ladies and gentlemen, Cole LaBrant. Cole LaBrant.
I like that.
Cole, he may have the 40 and I have the 39. But Cole, I'm so grateful that you're sitting down and just having a conversation today. Honestly, not because of the numbers that I'm talking about, but because of your heart around family and faith and just your journey as a creative entrepreneur. You really reflect the type of people that I challenge people to become, and I don't mean that, numerically, but I just mean that in terms of just like what's anchored you in the way that you're living your life and the vulnerability that you carry, as well as just the faith that you don't really shy away from, it's super respectful. So respectable. So
Man, well, I could say all the same things about you. I know that we haven't had a ton of conversations, so I'm looking forward to having this one, but we definitely just hit it off the first time that we met. I think just on the family front, more than anything.
Yep.
I know we're entrepreneurs and growing a lot of cool things for the kingdom, but it was family that I think we kind of merged that. So
that was that common connection that was like, all right, I like this guy. He loves his family.
Yeah, likewise.
So we actually have a little bit of a challenge that we're going to do today that everyone will hear about in a minute. But I want to start with just going back to really as a creative entrepreneur. Your journey started as a teenager. Was it the Alabama Boys?
Yeah, it was called Dim White Boys.
What was it called?
Dim White Boys.
Dim White Boys.
Yeah, it was.
I don't even know if that would work today.
No, it works today. Again, this was back in 13. So,
oh my God.
This is back in the Vine days. Yeah, that's the OGs remember Vine. Some people every now and then will come up and be like, "Hey, I've been following you since Vine," and I'm like, I look at my watch because it has the date on it, and I'm like, man, that was like,
what are you doing?
13 years ago.
What is Vine still around? I don't even know that.
No, Vine died. R.I.P. Vine died. Like, it was short-lived. I think it lasted like a year and a half.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they got like in copyright trouble, and they didn't it got too big, and they didn't have like enough workers to like keep it going. It was like too expensive to.
I remember you popping up on Vine, and then a buddy of mine, Matt Cutchell. I don't know if you know Matt.
Yeah, you know Matt. Yeah, he's good.
I was his small group leader when he was in middle school.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So, dude, he just took to Vine, man.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He and his wife, Ariel?
Yeah. They went hard. So you're like what, 17?
Yeah, so I was 16 when it started, because I'm 29 now. Yeah, about 13 years ago, almost exactly. And I was living in small town Alabama, Troy.
Mm-hmm.
People might be familiar with Troy University. Some people pass through it on the way to the beach. That's the only thing that people know Troy for. But I was born and raised there. I'm one of 6 kids. Don't come from a family of any wealth, any like notoriety, fame, success. It's extremely normal. But in small town Alabama, everyone's that way. And how I explain it is like, this is like pre-viral social media. So the only social media at the time was MySpace, which I wasn't allowed on, and then Facebook, which was still pretty new. But social media was only you connecting with friends.
Right.
It wasn't people trying to get a big following to make money or grow a
Sell a
business.
product.
Yeah, like becoming an influencer was not a term. It was like social media was you had real celebrities, and then you had all of the other normal people.
Yep.
And that was it. So Vine comes out, and I'm 16, small town Alabama, and it's just like the kids at high school are using it. I don't even have a smartphone. I still have like my sliding phone, so I have to like download the Vine app on my dad's iPhone. He's like the only person who has an iPhone in our house. So like I download it and just making some videos, and it's only 6 seconds. So like if people are familiar with Vine, it's only 6-second video. So it's like it's the dumbest stuff. Like if you look up Vine compilations on YouTube, it probably wouldn't even be funny because it's like what is this? Like it's 6 seconds,
No
it's so
context.
fast. Yeah, no context like nowadays. But it was like Vine humor, and it was like the first viral social media of its kind, where all of a sudden Vine had this like For You page and this like recommendation page where like normal people could be recommended to people who didn't follow them. Where in the past, you would only see stuff from people that you followed. Where Vine had this like On the Rise. It was called On the Rise, which is like content that like was getting a lot of traction in that city would then be on the rise. So just kind of like a viral page. Me and my buddies didn't even really know about this, but so me and 2 of my best friends, shout out John Steven, Grice, Baylor Barnes. I still keep up with them today. They're
I love that.
amazing guys, have families of their own. But we were best friends. We lived in small town Alabama, played baseball together. It's summertime, and if you live in small town Alabama in the summer and you're a guy and you're 16, you don't wear a shirt, mainly because it's so hot. It's so hot. Really, there's no like ego, or like we weren't like trying to show off. Like no one did. It's just like
I know that game.
it's
Yeah,
just
for sure.
So we're shirtless and we're playing sting pong, which is where you play ping pong, and it's summer. But you know, if you like lose the game, then you get stung. And all of a sudden we're like, guys, like why don't we like make one of the guys watching a Vine, and this guy named Delon Richardson was promoting his song called "Don't Drop That Thun Thun Thun." You know that song? It's actually called "Don't Drop That Thun Thun Thun." Hey, so it's kind of like it was kind of like this like first viral dance, but it was only girls doing it. It was only girls doing the dance because it's kind of like twerk-esque. And so we're like, guys, how funny would it be if like we entered, like us, and like the people at school saw it. So like, yeah, I guess do it, you know? So we do it thinking that like maybe just like some of our homies at school would see it, like, that's funny.
Great.
And we do it, and the next day it had 100 likes, and we're going through like the likes, and we're like, we don't even know 100 people. We're like, man, who's Shirley this, and who's Jaden this, and who's like, who are these people? Like we don't even know these people who are liking it. And we're like, let's do another one. So we're like, the next day we do another stupid dance video, and the next day we do another stupid dance video, and they got like 200 likes, and then like 400 likes, and we're like, we should like be like a group. Like what should we name our group? I don't know. Like we're doing these like hip hop dances. Let's be like them white boys, you know? Because we're white boys and we can't dance. We're not like good hip hop dancers. You know, we're guys that play like baseball, soccer, sting pong, like as wide as it comes kind of thing. Got no rhythm. And that it just kind of kicked off. Like we just made a video every day, and it was summer and it was fun, and we got 1 million followers in a month. And within a month, and we're like, wow. Like, but by this point, we hadn't made any money because it wasn't monetized. It's not monetized. There wasn't like, no one knew this world. It was this unfamiliar world. Our parents were kind of like weary of it. Like, who are all these people following you? Right? What is this? I remember like my grandparents were like not about it, especially because we were shirtless and like dancing, and it was like, this feels like maybe too provocative. And it was like, and we were also Christians. So then we started like trying to like, find this fine line of like,
just having fun
versus like, where is this leading to? What doors is this opening? So we had a lot of questions. Fortunately, my dad and other family members involved, like I think, had some good kind of guardrails on it. But I remember I was working minimum wage because again, come from a family who has no money. So the second that we turned 16, we had to get a job.
Yep.
Small town Alabama. So I worked
the fam.
Yeah, I worked at a lot of jobs just to have gas money. But at this summer job I had, I was scooping ice cream at Milky Moo's, making $7.25 an hour, which was minimum wage at the time. And I remember after about a month, when we hit the 1 million followers, an app reached out to us. It was called Hot or Not, which is kind of like a Tinder. We just swipe if she's hot, and swipe if she's not. Again, an app like that couldn't be around nowadays. I mean, not with that name.
I know what you
say
mean.
same
Yes.
app, but
Yes.
and they were gonna pay us $500 to make a 6 seconds, 6 or 7, I forget. It's kind of like a 6 or 7 second video. We're like, man, yeah. I think it actually was like 6.7 seconds. Wow. How long the lines were. But so they paid us $500, and we were like, oh my gosh. So I did the math. We split it 3 ways. I'm like,
oh, that's
insane. Like $180. I don't know. That's a quick math. And I was like, I had to work like a whole weekend scooping ice cream to do this, and we just did this like saying, hey, go check out Hot or Not. So I told my mom and dad, I was like, if we could do one more of these deals, I'm gonna stop scooping ice cream and like try to get more deals. And they were like, I guess. A few weeks later, we got another one, and I was like, okay, well, I got like $300 in the bank, and I'm just gonna start making these videos because I loved making videos. It was just so fun. Like more than anything, it was just like it was a lot of fun. I loved like, small town, people like starting to like recognize us around town. I was never like the cool guy per se. I always kind of hung out with like more of like the nerdier kids. I like Pokemon. I like, so I did sports, but it was cool kind of.
Yeah.
People outside the small town maybe thinking you were cool,
Sure.
So that kept going. School time hit, and the other 2 guys, Baylor and John Steven, they weren't really about the videos as much, which I don't blame them for. It came with its own stuff, and they just kind of wanted to like pursue senior year of high school and football and other things. So I actually ended up by that point, I made several $1,000s. They had as well because we split everything. And I kind of drafted up a contract and gave them a bunch of money and said, hey, would you guys mind me changing the name from Dim White Boys to Cole LaBrant, since you guys aren't really wanting to do videos anymore anyways. And at that point, we didn't know, like, hindsight's 2020. So you had no idea what this is going to turn into. So I could have just lost, all the money that we had made and changed the name and then it'd be done. But it worked out, and changed the name to myself, and I have a bunch of siblings. So it was more so me and my siblings making videos. It made it easier than trying to coordinate with them. So kept doing that. Always just assumed it was like the 15 seconds of fame. That's what we always thought. I was like, this is 15 seconds of fame.
Milk this 15 minutes.
Milk it. Yeah, especially whenever you come from like, I don't want to say a poor family, but like, money's a big thing. And so it's like, if I can get several $1,000s, I knew college was around the corner. Like if I could make enough money or do this in college so that I didn't have to work a full-time job or part-time job in college, and I could make these videos instead, I had all these thoughts. So that was my goal. Was one, to not have to have a job while I was in college and do the videos. And, I consider that my job, but do that. And also, as it started doing better, was if I can make enough money to pay for my wedding and my honeymoon. I was like, that was my ultimate goal. I want to like make enough money to not go in debt at my wedding and to have an epic honeymoon.
Yeah.
So kept doing that.
Beautiful.
And I remember, this is kind of the longer version of the origin story, but then I'm
perfect.
18, 19, going to college at Troy University, same small town. Me and my best friend, roommate, who was also one of them white boys, John Steven, ended up doing a trip out to California. My first time to California. We're like, hey, it's summer. He has a girlfriend, but like I'm single. We're like, we got no families. Like, let's just like go to California. We get the cheapest Airbnb we can find for a month. And the last week that we're out there, we look up things to do near us, and the Grove in LA pops up. And I bump into
a little outdoor mall.
Outdoor mall. Yeah, if you live in LA, you know what the Grove is. It's nice. I love it. But my wife was there. Well, she wasn't my wife at the time. But Savannah was there.
You just called it right there.
Yeah, I called it. I was like, that's her.
That's her.
But Savannah was there. So I'm 19. She was 23. And she had a 3-year-old daughter, right?
Okay.
So I assumed that she was married. She's obviously a mom. Didn't know the context, but obviously very beautiful. And but definitely, the first very obvious miracle in my life, and to date, the most obvious miracle in my life, was how we met. And I could do an entire podcast around like that day. And I was just like, if I ever lose Savannah, if I ever did something that caused a divorce or whatever it was, like I would know, like I lost the one miracle in my life.
Wow.
Like that's it.
Wow.
Like I will never recover. If Savannah dies, I will never, like I might get remarried, and Savannah knows that. Like we've kind of talked about that, but I will never remarry to the level of like what Savannah was. Like she is and always will be and always has been like it in my life. And like God made that so evident, and just how we met in the early years of marriage, and even today now, almost 10 years in. But so whenever I just say that in the context of even the origin stories, whenever we met, she was kind of making videos with her 3-year-old daughter, just cute stuff. Vine had died. There's this new app now called Musical.ly, which was what TikTok was before it changed to TikTok. and she was doing well, so we just fell in love. But while we were falling in love, we were both kind of making videos. It was fun just to kind of document our love story, and we were obsessed with each other, still are, but film just kind of that, and obviously having a 3-year-old, her 3-year-old daughter in the mix, who's adorable and charismatic. It was just so fun. It was so fun and so seamless, and we get a lot of hate online because family vlogging. Um, Unfortunately, whenever people found out that you can make money from it, people started exploiting it, and bad families started coming about. There's been documentaries about abuse.
Yep.
And what I always tell people is that, unfortunately, that family was abusive, and they happened to also family vlog. But more than anything, they were just child abusers, which is awful.
You can't stereotype everybody.
It's not that you're abusive because you're a family vlogger.
Right.
You were abusive and you also family vlog. They would have been abusive if they weren't family vlogging.
Yep.
It just, then because there's a few of these families that do terrible things, it puts everyone in this terrible category. And because we were one of the largest family vloggers, it made things complicated. So fortunately, we had a lot of success, and we got to have so much fun. And outside of a lot of the negativity, we got to share our faith, because that was always the most important thing and always has been to us. And we've done it wildly and perfectly, and have made a lot of mistakes along the way. But I feel like God's pruned us a ton. And we obviously have 5 kids now, and we always wanted a big family. So more than anything, we got to I got to spend time with my kids. I get to spend so much time with my kids and my wife.
Right.
And that has been the biggest blessing, more than anything, more than, I can list a number of things, but that is like what I'm most grateful for. Yeah. I come from a family and surrounded by people that I know that working a 9 to 5 is the normal thing. And for most people, that's just what you have to do. And if that's what you have to do, it's what you have to do to support your family.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that God opened a different door, that I get to be with my kids more. And I wish that everybody could experience that.
Did you know that first of all, I love that story. It's such a beautiful story, and what's probably really neat, and you've probably noticed this, but there's this thread throughout your entire story of just gratitude and perspective and grounding in a lot of ways, where I think, at least I know a handful of people who experience any level of success in that way, where you're, an influencer, if you will. It can mess people up like pretty big. And I love that the thread of what you're saying, it just feels like you've always had sort of that grounded, like we know what we value, and we're always going to represent that. But going back to like when starting all this, it's just started out of you just being creative and having fun, making videos. There was that pivot with your friends where they got less interested and you're like leaning in. I would describe that as like, oh, Cole's just entrepreneurial. Like that's who you are. And when you have 2 friends and that's how you decide to pivot, did you see that in yourself at the time? Would you have called yourself then like entrepreneurial? Would you?
At the time, I would not have, but looking back, and I don't know, I have a lot of thoughts around this. I think a lot of it is your upbringing, but even then, I'm one of 6 kids, and all of us kids are kind of different. My older brother, like I'm the second born, my older brother, he's just so chill, and he's like, I don't want to use the word complacent, but he's just so okay, like where he is, and doesn't have this like wild drive to like
he might not be driven in the same way.
Yeah, be the biggest like business owner or whatever it is. And not saying that I want to be the biggest business owner, but I even remember when I was a kid and I went to this like really small private school in Troy, Alabama called Pike Liberal Arts. And we had like 20, 30 kids per grade. Was only there for like 2 or 3 years, and because we can only afford it for like 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
But the richer kids in the school went there, and I remember these like power balance. Do you remember those power balance bracelets?
Yes.
They came out, and everyone was buying them. I think they were like $30, $40
It's a little bit of a status thing.
Yeah, kind of like a status thing, $30, $40 a bracelet. Well, I remember I would go on eBay and I would find rip-off power balance bracelets that I could get for like about like $2 a bracelet versus 40. They looked the exact same, all the things, and I would buy them and I would sell them to kids for like $20 instead of $40.
I love that.
And just like to make, so I'd come back with like $140 from school, and like my parents would be like, "What are you doing?" And then I'd go and like buy more stuff off, like cheap stuff off eBay from China and resell it. So I think even then, I always kind of had this like, yeah, I guess you would call it entrepreneurial, mindset even in middle school. So, yeah, I was definitely trying to work it, and I think I wouldn't have seen it in myself then, but looking back, I definitely wanted to and saw the value more so and like what this could do versus if I were to play soccer. Like I wasn't able to play like sports anymore in school, which I loved playing. I loved playing soccer in school, but I was like, what's the value here versus here?
Yeah.
You know, or what's the value?
It's amazing.
A lot of the times, like I didn't like go out with my friends, which has its own things. I do think that high schoolers should enjoy being a kid and as much as you can. But also, I think if you take advantage of things, I think if I didn't take advantage of the opportunity at hand, yeah, my life could have gone in a different
It would have
direction.
different. It's interesting that you say that because I think it sounds like you loved what you were doing
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
while making income from it, which I think is such an ideal situation. I think when you're doing something that you enjoy doing, like hours can pass and you're not going,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this job sucks and
Yeah.
this is terrible. I was the captain of our soccer team in high school, and the first entrepreneurial thing that people started to see in me was we were undefeated my senior year, junior and senior year, and we had all of these fans, the parents, and everybody was just super bought into our team. So we just had like the sidelines were just full of people for soccer games, in America are generally what they are. And I remember just going like, "Dude, I should make some custom shirts that all the parents can have, like all the like Cole's mom, Cole's dad, like,
You're
and
seeing customers.
so I designed these shirts, and then I worked with some printer that I didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, I want to make these shirts. I want them custom. I took pre-orders and had everybody prepay because I didn't have any money to actually, pay for all that stuff. And I got that. I don't know how much I made. I made like $700 or $800, which was great when you're like
Yeah.
16. But I remember one of my friend's dads pulling me aside me and like, you're an entrepreneur. You're not who you are. And he's like, I don't know any 16-year-olds doing this kind of stuff. And he started to call that out in me, which really kind of helped me move into that. Did you have anybody calling that out in you when you were younger, or it just happened?
Yeah, I didn't. But I wanted to point out that I probably whenever you were making those shirts, it was probably fun for you.
Oh, it was a blast.
Like probably like creating those shirts because you're creative.
Yep.
It wasn't in your head like, oh, like I got to do this, this, and this, and this, and then I can maybe make $500. I was like, oh,
Yep.
the whole process is fun. Like
Yep.
getting to design the shirts and all that. And that's how it was for me in the videos and even my wife and even Everly whenever we were doing it as a family. It was always so fun. So I think a lot of people can look at, I don't know, the negative side of things of like, you guys are having to work or like your family's having to work. It's like we just had so much fun. And there is a point to where like, oh, there's times where you might have to make a video or like certain things, it's obviously not always fun. But yeah, and to answer your question early on, I didn't have anyone call that out in me. And I wish I did because I think it would have given me more clarity and direction.
Structure, yeah.
Yeah. And it probably would have protected me from mistakes that I made and maybe some things that I did out of doubts in myself. Whenever you're insecure.
Yeah, yeah.
I was very insecure. Just about a lot of things, or I was trying to maybe mimic other people's content who were doing really well. And I was always trying to find like who I was. So yeah, I didn't have that. And I think a big reason for that is social media was so new.
Yeah.
So there wasn't anybody.
That wasn't a playbook.
There wasn't a playbook. It wasn't like, well, okay, Cole, you're 16 making videos on the internet. How are you going to turn out in 10 years?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Right.
Right. There's no one who did this 10 years ago to say like how this is going to play out. So I do try to fill that void with a lot of younger talent. Now, like if I see a young dad or a young family or whatever it is who's starting to do things and I can tell that they're new or early on, I'll reach out to them and, especially if I see that they follow me or whatever it is, just say like, hey, if you ever have any questions, like ask me. I don't go to them just saying, hey, you should do this, this, and this, and this. I just try to leave it open hand. Like, hey, if you have any questions, ask me. And you don't have to listen to it, but at least you can hear my experience. And a lot of it is the mistakes that I made. And I'd be like, hey, I would be careful doing this, this, and this. But only if they ask me.
You could probably write a master class in that. I mean, that's such a special thing. I think there's something so important about finding work that you enjoy doing.
Mhm.
And if you make money from that, make the most money you can make from that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think one of the biggest takeaways I'm taking from your story is just like, you just found some stuff you enjoy doing. And I think oftentimes if the focus is money, then you probably end up doing the wrong things. If the focus is, I want to do some things that make me come alive, that I enjoy, that I have vision for, that I don't mind working a 14-hour day. And I'm like, oh, that was fun. Like, I'm excited to get up tomorrow and keep building. It sounds like you're a real builder in all this. Are you competitive?
I am. Yeah. I love sports. I love games. And that's something that I know we just talked about us getting a new property. But a big thing that my wife and I, and then I would say even especially me, is really passionate about is like games and having fun and having adults have fun. Because as you become an adult, I was always kind of like the goofy guy. I was always goofy, even in like the videos, just like the goofy dad. It's just I'm not playing a part. That's just who I am. Like I'm not afraid to embarrass myself. Never have been. And definitely as you get kids and get older, especially if as you're looking at all the things you're supposed to do as a dad, provide, and it can kind of, I don't want to say suck the life out of you by any means because it's the greatest gift, but maybe suck some of the fun out of you, where you're maybe not as fun or goofy as you once were. And I never want to lose that because I know that's like who my wife fell in love with, and I want my kids to see that side of me. So I've been like refreshed this past year, like reminding myself like who I am in that goofy sense. This is a long-winded question to am I competitive? But as of recently, like, yeah, we've been doing a lot of like family game things, but inviting adults to partake in it. And I've seen that be such a gift.
Oh, that's
so like,
cool.
It's such a gift to like people who do work the long hours, and who get to like come and just like, oh wait, there's no motive here besides just playing a game and having fun. Like, come to our house. We're not trying to have you like invest in something. We're not trying to like sell you on something. I come and play and have fun, you know? And I think that there's something really special in just that.
Yeah. The, you know, I think from the entrepreneurial side of you, people can take competitiveness as like a negative thing, but I think the truth is that you can use it to help build and drive the things you feel you're supposed to do. Like, because competitiveness just comes from a place in your heart and in the wiring of who you are in a lot of ways where you just, it puts you out there, you know? And I think it sounds like that's what you did. Is you just put yourself out there. Did you ever have any moments from an entrepreneur? I want to get to the family stuff. One more question, then we'll get to the family stuff. And I've got a challenge now that I know you're competitive. I'm gonna kick your butt at this. Did you ever have any moments as an entrepreneur? So there's a few things. Let me just highlight a few things. Number one, I loved it how curious you were. Sounds like you're just curious. You're like, yeah, have fun doing this, and let's try this. Let's see what happens. I think curiosity is so underrated, especially this next generation when they're starting to figure out like, what do you want to do? What makes you come alive? Two is you enjoyed what you did. You enjoyed the work at hand, which I think is such a golden nugget. If you're watching this and you're trying to figure out what to do, what do you like to do? What do you come alive with? What makes you come alive? What do you feel God's put in your hands? But as you established yourself as an entrepreneur and you had success and you know, followers grew and all that kind of stuff happened. Did you ever have, as an entrepreneur, did you ever have any like imposter syndrome moments where you were like, you know what I mean?
For sure. Definitely. So I started off on Vine just myself, or me and my boys. And then it was just me for a bit, for 3 years before I met my wife. And so it was me making content, Cole LaBrant, and then it was Cole and Savannah. And then Everly was always a big part of it, my oldest daughter. And then we had a lot of kids, which we would have done outside of social media. Got to do it within, but had this big family. So kind of went from, and that's just the stages of life naturally, as single, married, family. So I think the imposter syndrome came about whenever we were crushing it in the family space. And then the family space started getting a lot of negativity. And we saw that. And I just wanted to do what was best for our family, and we felt like God put us on this platform and in this space, and that even despite mistakes we had made and despite hate that was coming our way, I wasn't confident that the best thing to do was just run and hide, you know? But how can we pivot or I always think of like, what does God put in your hands,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
With Moses and his staff.
Yeah.
It's like, what does God put in your hands? Like, well, for me, it's just so obvious, like these videos and this platform of millions of people. And even if there's negativity and whatever else, there's a lot of people that come up to us and look up to us. And um, because of our faith and because of our vulnerability. Um, so I would say regarding the imposter syndrome was like whenever we got to that space of like, okay, here I am in my mid 20s with a wife and kids and this big platform, but maybe we're trying to pivot because maybe social media and having your kids involved to this extent isn't the best thing. What's next?
Wow.
What do we do next? If and that's kind of what we did reach to get to a point of we were in California making videos kind of full time. By this point, we have a few kids, but we're definitely sensing. It wasn't this like big moment. It's like, okay, we're done. But it was kind of this like slow progression of like, okay, we're making 3 videos a week because it's so fun. And like we can make a video every other day. And it was really chill. We're not doing these like big production videos. It was vlogging. So it's like,
Right.
we're going to the park. We're going to Disneyland.
Right. Right.
But then I was like, okay, let's do 2 videos a week because it'll be easier and we don't have to film as much. Let's do 1 video a week.
Yeah.
And then it got to this point of like, let's just do a couple videos a month. And then we're like, we don't even, we want to get a slower pace of life. And we don't even know if we want to make long form videos at all. And that's what we did. Whenever we moved to Tennessee, a big part of that was to like slow our lifestyle down and to focus less on the social space and social media space and only on our family. But then obviously as the husband, dad, and business side of me, my wife got to completely detach from all of it. And that's what she has done since we got to Tennessee, and she has blossomed into her truest form. Like this is who God has created her to be, as a homeschool mom, thriving. Our kids are just thriving, and it's because of her. And but then on my side, I'm like, it is good I believe it's good for men to work, right? And I don't say this arrogantly in any way. I could financially completely retire today, and through investments and other things, be more than fine. I don't think it's healthy for my kids to grow up and see that dad was never doing something.
Yeah.
I think that then they would grow up and be like, wait, I have to do something, but dad never did.
Yeah.
They might know that dad did videos way back when, but so there was an imposter syndrome of what now, which kind of led us to some of the things that are on the table here, and other things. But I think that that's not a bad thing. I think that we want instantaneous gratification. We want the answer now, and I think that God allows us to wander in the wilderness. God allows us to try things that don't work.
Couldn't agree more.
Right? I mean, I could count a lot of things that I tried and didn't work. And unfortunately, because I even leveraged my social media platforms for those things at times and they didn't work in the public eye, it's that much more, and maybe embarrassing is the word, right? It's like, wow, like I went in on this, I believed in it, I even prayed and felt like, okay, God, I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try this. That's not it. I a few months in or whatever it is, it's like, that's definitely not it. For whatever reason, you don't have that peace anymore about it. But all those things open doors and teach you things. And you talk to any entrepreneur who has any success, they're never gonna say, I mean, I haven't heard it, where it's like, hey, I was this old and this is the first thing that I tried and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
They're gonna say, I failed, opened doors, did this, embarrassed, met this person, and then it all ended up here. And especially whenever you're a person of faith, you see like, oh, well, this is God writing this really cool map.
Dude, I have a friend who recently sold his business for 100 million. And when you go back to his story, the funniest thing is I said, dude, why did you end up doing this? Like, and we were chatting a couple weeks ago, and he said, well, somebody told me one time when I was younger that 9 out of 10 businesses will fail. So I just needed to get to 10. And I'm like, that's amazing. To me, that's the competitive.
I got to count how many I failed on. I might be getting close.
That is using the competitive drive in you to like do something meaningful, is the way I look at it. So he just literally, he went through all these different businesses and to the one that finally hit. I think it was number, I don't know, 6 or 7 for him. Wow. You said 6, 7.
Lots of 6, 7s. Yeah.
But it was just this idea that like failure is part of the process. When you're in the limelight and you're seen as, and you're kind of under the magnifying glass and people are wanting to watch everything. People love it when you fail. And I'm like, no, failure. If you're not failing, I don't even know I want to be friends with somebody who's not failing.
Yeah.
Like if you're in business and you're like, I've never done anything wrong. I've never lost money. I've never done. I'm like, yeah, I don't know that you're going to be the right partner for me, because failing is where you learn grit. It's where you learn priorities. It's where you learn, like, I think you learn more through failure than you do winning personally. But the idea that you pivoted and just to your point, man, I love what you're saying about not like wanting to work. I've really been wrestling with this like reality, like retirement's not in the Bible. Sabbath is in the Bible.
Yeah.
Like a day of rest.
And not just retirement's not in the Bible. What about how God created us in the Garden of Eden?
Yes.
Before sin ever entered the picture.
Yes.
All right, so work isn't a product of sin. Work is a good thing created by God, because it says that in the beginning, you go through Genesis, and because you can go back to like, why are we here? Well, like, what's the purpose? And it's like God created Adam and he placed him in the garden to work and tend it.
Yeah.
To work and
manage it.
To work and steward. Like Adam was, I'm sure, he's working, he's taking care of. So we're created. I think that whenever we are, you can call it heaven or the new earth, whenever God comes and makes all things new. And I think that we'll rule and reign alongside him forever. We're going to be doing stuff.
Yeah. Work is part of God's design. So I love that perspective, because I don't think it's just like, oh, that's a good way to think, Cole. I actually think like that's biblical. You're like, oh no, like God designed us to work and have purpose. And most people that retire die within 5 to 10 years because they've lost their purpose. They've lost purpose. I just read a story about a 97-year-old heart surgeon, which I don't know if I'd want him working on my heart, but he just said, my friends started retiring at 70 and they would all die within 5 years. So I was like, I don't want that. And I didn't have like this desire to just like golf every day or whatever. That gets old. And so he just kept working, and he's apparently a really good heart surgeon. But dude, I love talking about the entrepreneurial side of you and just some of those perspectives from business that you've learned over the years. But I want to get into your family. Want to get into fatherhood. This is a little bit of a Father's Day segment. So I want to get in. You just said something that I just want to call out on you. You just said it's all because of my wife, and you're talking about your kids. And I would challenge that thought based on what I know from you. Not that your wife's not amazing, but I think the role that you've played as a father and a dad has been really significant. And I think there's a lot of dads, even your age, that are asking questions right now. We have kids, and there's not like this playbook that somebody hands you and goes, here you go. But yet it's one of the most important things we do in our lives, and we want to do it well. And we want to do it right. And I think a lot of dads want to do that. They struggle with the tension of business and providing, being home. And at least I do. At least I'll just say that about me, is that there's always that tension of both. But I feel like you've done it really well. And so I want to move into a challenge today, Cole, if that's okay. We are going to move into the Juice Box Jams Challenge. That's maybe the dumbest name ever, but it is what it is. Sometimes you just got to name things for what they are. So we're going to do a Juice Box Jams Challenge. And what that's going to look like is I have 10 questions because we both have 5 kids. So representing both of our kids, 10 questions, 2 dads. And I'm going to ask you a question. These are the most commonly asked questions that I get, or my wife and I get, as parents, as a father. And I'll ask it. We'll both answer it. But in front of us here, we've got a bunch of these juice boxes. Tell me about Frosh, because this is your family. This is your family's thing, right?
Yeah. Yep. So I won't get too promo-y, but we're very pumped about these, largely just because we're passionate about family, kids, and health. And that's what Frosh is. This will be nationwide in Target by the time you watch this podcast.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. And so obviously Target's really excited about it. We're talking to a bunch of other retailers, but it's really just your favorite juice box that you can think of. I don't have to name any. We got 3 flavors: apple, what's that, tropical punch
Tropical, yeah.
and fruit punch, but it's healthy ingredients and 5 grams of protein. So it's
Dude.
vitamins and, zinc, all the things that you want for your kids. So instead of them just drinking down, watered down
Sugar.
juice or sugar, it's actually got
For
protein.
my ignorance, is there normally 5 grams of protein in juice boxes?
No, juice usually has 0 grams.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Especially in a kid's juice box.
I feel dumb asking that.
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no. Any competitor or any juice that you're buying your kids is gonna have 0 grams of protein. So that
Dude.
it took a long time to get protein in because it's a clear whey protein isolate that tastes really good. And kids, I mean, you'll try this. It's really good. You don't taste the protein. Our kids love it. So
Amazing.
looks
Okay,
cool, yeah.
so we have these, and then the jams. Tell me about the jams.
Jams, very similarly, our family loves peanut butter and jellies. And we were downing Uncrustables, right? I mean, they're
Love Uncrustables.
They're delicious, aren't they? Right? It's like a
So
PB&J
good.
on the go. But I always felt bad giving them to our kids because they, I mean, just read the ingredient label and that will speak for itself. So we partnered with this company who you can see the ingredients on the back. Very simple. You know exactly what those ingredients are. You don't have to feel bad about it. And 10 grams of protein. You can find these nationwide.
10 grams of protein.
Yep.
All right, I'm in. I like
delicious. Yeah, PB&J and juice. What's not to love?
Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna ask a question. We're both gonna answer, and we both have to eat a jams or drink a juice after each question.
I love it.
And if you tap out before me, then I win.
Let's go.
I don't know what I win.
Okay, we got 4 PB&Js and 6 juices.
I win bragging rights at the first juice box jams challenge.
This might be the first one ever.
This is the first annual.
And with 4 jams and 6 juices, we got 40 grams of protein in the jams, and then we got 5, 10, 15, 20, 20, 30. So I mean, we've got 70 grams of protein here between peanut butter and juice.
70 jams.
Let's go.
I gotta be honest, I didn't eat breakfast this morning because I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose. So dude, are you ready? Let's do this.
Sick.
All right, question 1. How do you stay genuinely connected to each of your kids, not just under the same roof, but actually close, especially as they get older and the natural drift starts to happen?
That's a great question. So you're asking the questions,
and then we'll both answer.
We both answer back and forth. Man, I think that and again, you're the more seasoned father. You have
Yeah, I guess the context we should make sure everybody understands. Your youngest is
my youngest is 1.
1.
Yeah.
And my oldest is about to be 18. So
There.
we have 1 to 18 covered.
That's
between
it.
The two of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're definitely more seasoned. So I definitely, especially whenever it comes to the teenage years, because my oldest is 13. So we're just entering there. But absolutely, without a doubt, I think, especially having 5 kids, bigger family, the one-on-one time is important, which looks like what you're doing here with your daughter.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to clump the kids together.
Yep.
I have friends who have a lot of kids, and they kind of say, like, what's the difference in 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7? Because you just kind of throw one more in the mix. And I'm iffy on that perspective because I'm like, it's easy if you do just clump them together.
Yeah.
But I want each of my kids to know that they're loved and special,
Right.
uniquely and individually.
Yep.
And not that they grow up with this imposter syndrome like we talked about, like, who am I? Because I was always just kind of thrown in the mix. But like, this is what makes you so special because, yes, you're a LaBrant and part of our family, but you're also, Everly. You're also Posey, and this is what God has.
Yeah, dude, that's so good.
Do I get to eat this now?
Yeah, you can. You get to start eating. You get to go.
I'm hungry.
Some of the best advice that I got early was build connection with your kids when they're young, so that when they get older and they actually need it, it's not weird. So essentially, it's the idea of like when your kids are younger. Is my mic okay? When your kids are younger, you don't have to work to build connection. I'm going to Home Depot. Okay, I'll come with you. I'm going to do something that might be boring, but they just want to be with you. So they're just like, yeah. So you feel connected to your kids with little effort because they just want to hang out with dad. But as they get older, that natural connection starts to shift. And so if you don't actually have a real connection, if it was just like a connection by flow of the day, then when they're going through things or there's school drama or boys or whatever, like relationships and gossip or whatever, it's kind of like weird to talk. Like, I don't know, why are you trying to butt into my life? And somebody told me years ago, build connection when they don't need it so that when they do, it's there. And it's not weird. And so I started a thing at our house called Mondates. And every Monday night is a date night. We rotate the girls. They all know their week. Like next Monday is Stella's, and she's already talking about it. She wants me to take her to the golf range, which I'm super pumped about. I'm like, heck yeah, we're gonna go to the golf range. But I started that with Paisley, who's about to be 18. I think she was 10 or 11, and it's become such a tradition and a staple in the family that it's been when they were younger. It's like, what do you want to do? I want to go roller skating. I want to go to the arcade. I want to go to a movie. You know, those are the kind of things. Now with my 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, it's like, let's go to dinner and talk. Just hang out and talk about life and where we're going, things like that. So that was probably one of the best advice as far as connection is get it when they're young so that when they need it when they're older, it's not weird.
I love that. I think I'm going to steal your Mondates. That's a really good. Because I got a weekly date with my wife, but not with the kids. My wife and I, we'll do the same thing, but it's like my wife and I will take a kid out, but it's not on a weekly basis. And we are number 3, our son Zion, he's been begging us. He's like, when's my next one? When's my next one? Because he's like next on the calendar. And I think having it as regular as he can is so special. And the kids just value that so much.
It's been fun because they like to even plan it.
Yeah.
You know. I'm eating. I answered eating, and I'm having a hard time eating.
It's peanut butter. Yeah.
It's like, I can't wait to get to the juice part now. Okay.
Next question.
Great answer. Number 2. We've kind of already talked about this, but I think this would be fun to riff on as well. How intentional are you? Don't start drinking yet, bro.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
Not there yet. Sorry.
I haven't answered it.
I already ate the whole thing. The peanut butter is making me a little thirsty. I'm just getting it ready. I'm not going to drink it.
All right. How intentional are you about fun in your family? And what does that actually look like practically day to day?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's a fun one. Talking about fun, man. I mean, it sounds so cheesy and like cliche, but I'm sure you know, but we just have such a blast in our house. It is just, I mean, whenever you love being a parent, and love your kids and they are just the light of your world, like it was almost hard for me to say yes to this podcast because I thought I had to be away from my kids for a couple hours.
Wow.
I was like,
wow.
Nah, I love you. And it was not, it was an
Thank
easy
you,
yes.
bro.
But for real, it's not like, man, how do I get away from my kids all day? Like, but they're so much fun and I love hanging out with them. And, how it looks practically is that I don't think you have to like schedule. I think that one, it's important to schedule fun things. But I also think like fun can just be wildly spontaneous and all the time.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's making breakfast and family conversations and making sure that you have like built-in moments of family dinner and like making sure that there's actual conversation around the dinner table versus just everyone on their phones or whatever that looks like. Having those really intentional things that your family values.
Yeah, dude, that's a great answer. You can drink your juice now. That was,
thank goodness.
That was good enough.
Woo, I'm sweating.
All right, I would answer that. I would think I would agree with you. The things that have probably, if I were to add anything to what you said or answer that in my own way, I would say, I think it's really important not to take yourself too seriously. And I think that when sometimes we can get into that headspace and fun is what gets you out of that space. You're like, you know, like it's, be a dad that's okay to laugh at yourself. Like, you know, I made a mistake or I did something funny or whatever. I think that's really important. The other thing I'd say with fun is be intentional with the type of fun. So one of the things we started doing that when the girls were younger was we'd go like what we call overlanding, which is like, I've got this old Land Cruiser that's like all built up for like rock crawling if you wanted it to, but we'll just go up and just into the Sierra Nevadas that we live at the feet of our where we live is like the Sierra Nevada mountain ranges and Lake Tahoe. And we'll just go camp. We'll just go drive around in the wilderness and get them out of like the day to day and have fun in that way. It's crazy when you do that, how much they crave that, or like the beach.
Yeah.
And then they also want like less screens, like less screen time when you get, so I like when you get off, when you want to have fun, be intentional to do it, but do it in ways that kind of like, I think we both sound. You've said this to me on the phone before. We're pretty spontaneous people. I think we're very spontaneous for fun. It's like,
Yeah.
let's go do this. All right, sweet, we're doing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would wildly echo the no screen thing as well. I think the phones and the tablets and the TVs and we're not a family, and it's totally fine if you do this. We have, 2 TVs in our home, so we're not like anti TV. We have movie nights and all those things, but I think that I know that the phones and the social media, and especially as your kids get older, it's just it can suck the fun
yep,
away from you,
yep.
So I think just it's so much easier to hand your kid the tablet, the phone. I think just we'll be repeating certain things here, like doing the harder thing, which
Yep.
it might be harder to
Yep.
like. It might feel harder in the moment to like actually like load your kids up and like, take them into the mountains to camp and all these things. But like, it's so much more rewarding whenever you do it. You find so much more joy in and through that,
I would add, maybe this is a question to you, but I think, tell me if you disagree. I think another thing that parents might feel the pressure of, like if you're feeling the pressure of finances, fun doesn't have to cost a lot either.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, there's this misconception of, well, money's tight. We don't have money. We can't do anything. We want to go to Disneyland. We can't afford to go to Disneyland. It's like, go play a card game.
Yeah.
Go play Monopoly. Go play
Yeah.
Uno. Go play whatever it is.
The most fun thing that our family does, my favorite thing, and the thing that I see like our kids just come alive in, is if we get in the car, and it's part of the reason that we are trying to buy more land is because then we can just do it in our land. But we just get in a car and we go find us a big open grass field. And we
Yes.
lay down a blanket and we got
Oh,
footballs and baseballs
yeah.
and no plan. And we got some
Yep.
music playing. And everyone's just kind of running around doing their own thing or playing a game or like you said, spontaneous. There's no plan. You show up
Yep.
to the grass field.
Yep.
Hopefully it's good weather. Good weather helps.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Yeah. Fun doesn't have to be expensive. All right. Next question here. How do you make sure your kids know that their value is not tied to what they do, but whose they are?
Yeah, whose they are.
I wrote that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's really good. Our oldest daughter has always done.
I'm gonna do my juice box.
Do it.
Okay.
Tropical punch.
Did you get done with yours?
I still got a little bit left.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be a decent bit of juice if we do all of it.
Yeah.
Let's see. So my oldest daughter, she's 13, Everly, she has always done competitive dance. That's not my world. Like I said, I grew up in Southern Alabama. Competitive dance wasn't even a thing. I came into her life when I was 19. She was 3, so what she had already started doing. And she's fantastic at it. She's loved it. And so obviously I support it. That being said, it has been a journey as my wife and I, we have kind of pruned in our faith and our parenting. And obviously your first one, you're learning a lot. And so fortunately, we've always had people in our lives who have been more seasoned. And that's been the biggest blessing is God putting people in the next season of life that we can be like, hey, how about this, this, and this? But that was a big thing is making sure like her identity wasn't wildly tied to her being a good dancer.
Yeah. Yeah.
For so many reasons. I think the dance competition community can be a kind of a crazy one, why they made a TV show, Dance Moms, around it. But that was whenever we moved here, something that we wildly honed in on, especially with our oldest, because she was, we've been here 3 years, so she was either 10 or 11 whenever we moved here, and it was just to slow the level that she was dancing at down. Even though she was so good, and we weren't forcing her to slow it down, even though I now 3 years later think that the best thing to do is to almost force your kids to slow down. I think that the culture that we have with, and it comes down to identity, who you are and what you do, is where are you prioritizing your time?
Wow.
If your time is prioritized, and let's just say baseball, right? Let's take it away from dance. Let's say I was having my son do baseball 24/7 or whatever it is. That's who you are because that is what mom and dad are prioritizing in your life.
Yep.
And you can say different things. And I think that there might be exceptions, right? I'm not old enough and I don't want to like say that this is like the mantra, but because you got people like Tim Tebow, who I'm sure was day in, day out football or baseball.
Right.
And he has been able to use that for the glory of God.
Right.
So I think that there are exceptions, and I would say that those are relatively rare. Because how many people are actually going to be the next Tim Tebow? Some might.
Yeah.
But I think the reality is that a lot of people want their kid to be the next If it's dance, they want their kid to be the next biggest dancer who wins all the competitions and ends up background dancing at, wherever the Super Bowl or whatever it is. You want your kid to go pro in this, and you want your kid to go pro in that. And I think along the way, you're losing, especially if you're a Christian, you're losing the biggest piece that we need to be prioritizing, that our kids love Jesus more than anything, more than they love their sport, more than they love their activity. And that, even as we were talking earlier, like, you're not using God for your business, using your business for God. And similarly, you're not using the gift that God gave you, whether it's dancing, baseball, soccer. We're not attaching God to that thing. It's like, hey, we're doing this for God. And I think that the time aspect is a big one, because I think in the US specifically, we are so pro your kids being in an activity.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, it's become overwhelming, that families aren't having dinner together anymore because their kids got to be at this, and this, and we can't do this on weekends because we got this, and this. And it's like, you don't have to, though. And that's what I tell a lot of people. And again, I could be wrong here, but I tell a lot of people, you don't have to do that.
Yeah. It's so real. And I think it's one of those things where we want our kids to have a good experience. So the motives are right.
For sure. I don't think they're trying to ruin their kids' life.
The motives are right, but and
we did it. And I just want to clarify, we did that life for a long time with Everly, which is why we're so passionate about it. Because up till we moved to Tennessee, Everly didn't eat dinner with us as a family.
Wow.
Even a lot of the younger siblings would sometimes ask. I remember there was one year where Everly was in public school, and so she went to school from 8 to 3, and then she danced from 3:30 to 8:30. And the little kids would go to bed at 7:30. So the little kids would ask, "Are we going to see Everly this week?" Because they weren't sure when they were going to see their older sister, because she was always at school and then always at dance. So I just want to clarify that we aren't these parents.
I
we walk through it imperfectly, and we feel like that was our experience with it.
I think that one of the answers that I would give to that identity piece is, what message is your kid actually receiving from you about why they're loved? So to your point, when you're talking about sports and this and that and the other, if that's all we focus on as parents and that's all we praise as parents, then we're silently, reiterating to them all the time, like, oh no, this is identity, this is value. And it's funny, I had this would be a hot take, because some people would be like, you're crazy, and I don't know how I feel about this, to be really honest. But I had a pastor one time tell me that if there was a conflict between a church event and a sporting event, the church event always won. That doesn't really exist with most parents. Most parents are like, well, no, this is their schedule and this is their performance there. But he begged the question. He was like, what are you reinforcing? You're reinforcing that that's more important than that. And I think that could be considered extreme at some level.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying everybody needs to do that, but I do think those kind of questions, how is my kid receiving like identity from me? How am I influencing that daily? And I do think the question about like prioritization, it shows them a little bit more about your identity, about what you value.
Yeah.
And what you're pointing yourself to.
For sure. And I think a big thing is like, where do they see mom and dad spending their time?
Yeah.
Because if they're seeing, they're going to find their identity in us a lot. If they're seeing us in our word, they're going to say, oh, that's important.
Right.
But if they're seeing like we're so focused on their sport or wherever they're finding their identity in, then that's a big thing. And then also like whenever you are reassuring your kids or speaking life over them, those things that you're saying, like, hey, I love you because you're the best dancer, or hey, I love you because you're so kind and you're so genuine and you're so, these things, like, that's where the value is.
Yeah, I think one thing we've always tried to make sure our kids know is that they're loved unconditionally. And we want to be the first people they come to when they're dealing with something, not the last. Like, I don't want you to think, oh my gosh, I think I've seen this written somewhere, but it's like, I think the statement is, I don't want to be in a tough situation and think, oh my gosh, my dad's going to kill me. I want to be in a situation where I'm in a tough situation. I go, oh my gosh, I need my dad.
Yeah.
So that's so good. All right. I finished mine, and I think you have to slurp it to prove it.
I was going to do that, but I didn't want to do it while you're talking.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Your juice box slurp.
That I got.
Pretty good, right?
That's super good. That well, I've only had one flavor, but that's my favorite flavor so far.
Yeah, now see, I'm slightly full because like we're kind of like taking our time with it.
I know.
Sandwich and the drink.
All right, next one. How do you build genuine confidence in your kids that doesn't depend on winning or achievement?
Wow, say that again. I gotta chew on that one.
Here, I can go first too if
You
you
go
want.
first.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
wanna
go-
put
you-
all the pressure
No,
on
no,
you.
no,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna have you go first, so then I can piggyback off it.
How do you build genuine confidence in your kids is basically what I'm trying to ask. That doesn't depend on winning or achievement.
Yep.
I think when I think about that question, if I were to really simplify it, I would just say, learn to celebrate the small things.
Mm-hmm.
Learn to highlight the little moments that matter, because I think confidence in kids is really, it's established in all the unsaid stuff. You know, it's like when you talk to somebody and they're like an adult that's just like dealing with a lot of issues, and you're like, what did this come from? And they'll go back to like a 2-minute moment when they were 8 years old.
Yeah.
And my dad said this to me.
Yeah.
And it just spiraled me in this way. So in our home, I think we try to pay attention to the small things, celebrate the small things, be excited about the small things. And yeah, I think that's and then I really try to highlight like their individual uniqueness. Like, we are not trying to raise 5 identical daughters.
Yeah.
We want to raise 5 daughters that are unique in God's eyes, that have giftings and skill sets. And just like you talked about your brothers, like you're not the same person. And that's actually the way that God wants it. You know, it's important to be uniquely you. And for our daughters, what that's done is it's actually helped them be close, because they're not competing with each other.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, no, I got to be good at that too. It's like, no, like that's what Pringle, I call my oldest Pringle. That's what Pringle's good at. And Lulu's good at different things. Pringle could be my creative director. Lulu could run operations. Like, they're very different in that way. And I want to praise both of that. They don't need to be succinctly the same. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know if that's a good answer.
No, that's really good. I love that. Yeah, I don't have too much more to add to that, other than I think similarly to what we said in previous answers. But I think just in the home,
3 and 4 kind of go together a little bit.
yeah, but just like reassuring like something that I tell my kids, I know my wife does too, like every night before bed, is that we love them and we're so proud of them. I think like having your kids hear that you're so proud of them,
Yes.
just it builds their confidence.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to tell your kids that you love them, but don't forget to tell your kids how proud you are of them, even if they're not doing anything that you're wildly proud of in the moment. But just you're proud of them in general. It's going to give them this confidence in their identity and to be who God created them to be.
Yeah, dude, that's so good. All right, let's go to the next question. And dude, you don't have to answer first on all these either, but I'm going in for the jams.
Yeah, I need a little more.
Ooh, have you drinking 2 juices?
No, I'm about to crack my second one.
Okay.
I think my third juice. Dude, I'm definitely feeling.
I might go. I'm gonna try this one.
You going apple as well?
I'm gonna go apple. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see. It's not sour apple, but we made it appear that way so that you're pleasantly surprised is the best thing.
Okay. Yeah. When I see the green apple, I
You think sour
with that. Yeah, that's true. All right. Next question. How do you pass on real faith to your kids?
Yeah, I love this. I would say passing on real faith to your kids is best done if, I'll reword it this way. I think it's impossible to pass on real faith to your kids if you aren't living it yourself. It's impossible. I remember growing up as a kid, 12, 13, 14-year-old, and I was a Christian kid, and I was always this hopeless romantic and wanted to get married. You know, like I was like, just like, I couldn't wait to get married, which funny enough, I got married young. It worked out well for me.
You knew
I knew what I wanted. But I remember there were these 12, 13, 14-year-old girls in my town, and they weren't living a certain way, and I was really maybe disappointed. And I remember I was always thinking, like, how are their dads letting them do that? I remember thinking that at 12, 13, 14. And I remember thinking, like, I am not going to let my daughters do that. And I remember thinking, how are their dads letting them do that? And now being a dad, almost 30 years old, I see the dads are letting them do that because the dads weren't living the way that they should have lived.
Yeah.
So the dads aren't going to care.
Yeah.
You know, we can get really vulnerable. If a dad's addicted to pornography, he's going to be so mystified by his guilt and by his shame and by his sin
Right.
that he's not going to be able to properly lead his kids into purity.
Yeah.
You know, into the things of God. And so I think that if we want our kids to truly love and walk with the Lord, we have to truly love and walk with the Lord. Not that if you don't, your kids won't, but it makes it so much easier if you do.
Right.
You know, it's so much easier to follow in your dad's footsteps. So if your dad is doing the righteous thing, it's a lot easier to live more righteously. If your dad, you know, so many people will say like, oh, I'm an alcoholic because my dad and my grandfather and it runs my family. It's a lot easier to be an alcoholic if your dad's an alcoholic. You can break that cycle by all means, but it's easier to do what you know, what you're familiar with, and what your mom or dad are doing and modeling every day. And if that's righteousness in your home, then by all means, that's what we want for our kids.
Yeah.
And it puts so much pressure on us, but that is like the greatest motivator. I mean, for me, it's like the greatest motivator to holiness and to purity and all things before the Lord is like, I think I said it in a previous conversation with a friend, but like the giants that we don't slay, our kids are left to slay. And we see that in the story of Goliath because it actually like Joshua and his army, I'll keep it short, but they went on to like kill all these groups of giants.
Yeah.
And they didn't kill this one group of giants, which is actually where Goliath came from. And if they killed that group of giants, Goliath, David might not have had to kill Goliath, but because they didn't kill that group of giants, they kind of, you could say, left this secret sin unkilled. Giant rose, and then David, generations later, had to kill him.
Wow.
So I want to kill all the giants in my life and my family's life and everything so that my kids can thrive more abundantly than I ever could.
So good.
For the kingdom.
Yeah. So good. I love that answer, man. I don't have much to add because I feel like you covered it really well. I think it's just important for parents to know that your kid's faith can't be your faith. You have to model your faith. You show that kids don't buy the performance faith. They can't be performance faith. You model your faith, but at the end of the day, you can point them to Jesus. But I pray every night over my kids when I'm putting them to bed. I pray that they would know you. They would know a relationship with you, that you're not just our king, you're our friend. And that they would know that you're near. I've literally prayed that for 17 years. Like that's kind of my phrase, is that they would know you, because I feel like when you can teach your kids to know God, then the rest is set up. But I would also add that what you said about you have to model it. You don't just model it on a Sunday. You have to model it in the home. My wife is so much better than I am. She's so wise. She has this Holy Spirit led thing, and she really models it in our home in a way that like she's just her Bible open, reading her Bible. Dude, I feel like there's multiple mornings where I'll go to wake up my kids for school and they're already up with their Bibles open and journals and just like doing devotions, and I'm like, who are you guys? Like I'm just so proud of them. But you step back and it's like God did something in their heart and their life at a moment, and they've just continued to do that. And it's been fun because Paisley is our oldest, who really started that. And then all the sisters, like Stella's 8, and she's like, Dad, on our last date, she's like, I need a new notebook. I need a journal for my devotions. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, we're going to go get her one. And we went to youth group 2 weeks ago, because Paisley was going to do like a 5-minute sermon. They were having like students preach. So she wanted to come watch her big sister preach. And we're sitting in there waiting for her to preach. And Stella's like, Dad, I left my Bible and journal in the van. And I'm like, okay. She's like, we got to go so we run out to the van. We grab her stuff. She took notes during her sister's sermon. And it's not because I'm like, you have to do this. It's just there's something that's been modeled that they now just want to emulate. It becomes their own. So,
That's
dude,
beautiful.
awesome. Great answers. Great answers. Amazing. All right. I'm looking at time. I'm going to move to question 7, and I'm going to drink my juice here. How do you handle conflict in your family? How do you make sure things actually get resolved instead of just going underground?
Yeah. Conflict, is that largely, I mean, I guess if you look at both fronts, marriage, but
I would say,
largely parenting?
I would say it this way. The way that I could have probably, if I were to reword that question, um, sometimes it's easier as a parent to just say, because I said so.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I don't,
so how do you not do that?
yeah, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes we can make as parents is we're so tired and exhausted and stretched that we become like the disciplined parent
Mhm.
that's like, don't do that. Stop this, take this, da da da. Just, and you're like, why? Because I said so. And like there's, you know what I mean? So I would maybe say it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and we've talked about this kinda overarching theme a lot, but doing the hard thing and, being much more intentional, and that goes with discipline, and it goes with explaining things even whenever you're exhausted. Good, right?
It's really
There it is.
good. Sorry, I'm totally
Yeah,
distracted
you're
by how
slipping.
good this was.
Um, but I think especially around the topic of, like, discipline or having those conversations with your kids instead of just, like, getting frustrated, and you have to give yourself grace because there's gonna be moments where you are just gonna do the "'cause I said so," and I think that even even God does that sometimes with us where it's almost like, "But why God?" It's like, "Because I'm God." You know, you have faith, so I think similarly, our kids just hopefully learn to trust us, but there does need to be this, um, explanation that as parents, we are trying to lead them to God, and as parents, we're trying to be obedient to God. So our job as parents is to actually discipline them because we love them, and that God has put that job on us. And so that's what my wife and I we've been trying to focus on is like, listen, we are doing this because we love you and because God actually
Yes.
commands us to.
Yeah.
And that we would be bad parents if we did not.
Yeah.
I don't discipline other people's kids because I'm not commanded to and because I don't love them the way that I love you. But because I love you so much, I actually am going to discipline you. And so just kind of reiterating that why behind you doing something. You don't have to necessarily
So
like get
good.
into like the nitty gritty of like all like a lengthy detail. But like, hey, just, God commanded me to discipline you in this way because we're going to raise you to be an amazing human who
Yep.
is gracious and kind and
Yep.
patient and empathetic and all these fruits of the spirit that God commands us to be. So I think just reiterating to our kids like who they are, but also who God commanded us to be as their parents.
Yeah. That's so good. When Paisley was 12, she came to me and she really wanted to know why she couldn't have a phone. And she had a case for it. You know the story. Like all my friends have phones. Da da da. And I remember in that moment, I wanted to just go because I said so. Like, don't ask me for a phone. I said so. And I stopped and I said, my mom, her grandma, his name is Gigi, said when Gigi was your age, none of this existed. So we're still learning right now in real time the effects that these kind of things, screens and having access to like a whole world, like we're learning the effects that it's having on teenage brains. And there's new discoveries coming out all the time. And I said, so me and mom want to be really careful to make sure that we're setting you up well and that we're looking out and we're protecting you in the right way. And she's sitting there and she goes, Dad, and I'm thinking like she's gonna just keep pleading her case. And I'm like, yeah. And she looks up at me. I'm getting emotional just saying it. She goes, I trust you. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, here, have the phone.
Yeah,
Whatever you have the phone. Whatever you want. But it was such a meaningful moment because I realized that was a moment that I wanted to just say because I said so.
Yeah.
But that was a moment where taking the time to try to articulate the why, uh, it it built what you just said, trust. And I think what I would challenge parents in and dads in is like take that extra minute to explain something sometimes because it gives them the context they need to trust you better.
Yeah.
To see, oh, dad's looking out for me. Dad cares about me. Dad wants to protect me. So yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's really good.
Awesome. Great, dude. How are you doing over there?
Well, I'm
All your
good.
stuff.
I pounded both jams. I just got a bit of juice to work through. Yeah.
All right. And you got
I still
the
got the tropical punch.
tropical punch, and I've got one of these left. All right. We're gonna get through this. This is an interesting one. I'm gonna ask 2 more questions here. One for this and one for that juice. How much have the people around your family, your spouse, other adults, other families shaped who your kids are becoming? And was that intentional?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a
Show me
community
your
question.
friend. Yeah. Show me your friends. I'll show you your future.
Yes.
Your community is your everything. That was another reason for us locating here. Our oldest daughter was in full-time dance, as I explained, and that was the priority of uh, the people that we were around. And it was, if we are surrounded by this, we can, all that we want as mom and dad, say, hey, love Jesus. He's the most important thing. But if her friends and her community and her friends' parents, everyone else is saying, no, it's dance, it's TikTok, it's whatever it is, then a teenage kid is much more likely to eventually side with their friends versus their mom and dad, as we all know. But if you can align those things, not that it's going to be perfectly, but yeah, who you surround yourself with, even just for my wife and I, it's not just our kids, but my wife and I, we want to be surrounded by parents that, that we wildly look up to and that are making us better and greater. And I know that there's so many sayings and amazing quotes, but one of them is like, show me like the 5 people closest that you hang out with, and you're the medium of all of them.
Right.
And not that you shouldn't hang out with people who
I think it's
are doing it wrong. I mean, Jesus did allow himself to hang out with people, but who are you like spending the most time with? And that's what it is. It's all about like, who are you spending the most time with? If I'm spending the most time with guys who just are doing things that I don't think are the best things that a dad and husband should do, eventually I'm going to either let my guard down or settle or think that's normal or whatever it is. And recently I've been around dads who are just the best dads. Like, I have a few friends who are just the best dads.
Love that.
And I consider myself a really good dad. And I'm like, man, I got to do better. But if I hung out with dads who are losers, I'd be like, I'm doing pretty good,
Right.
And I think it's okay to admit, like I just said, I know I'm a good dad, but man, I want to be better because I'm around these other really amazing dads, and same thing with husbands. And so, I mean, I couldn't stress like that's a secret ingredient to any family. And if you don't have that, like, you're on an island.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I agree. I think I think so much of the formation of our kids happens in the unsaid. And what I mean by that is it just happens into just living life, the day to day. And when you talk about what you're saying with friends and relationships and it's modeling something. If you're putting your kids around somebody that like maybe an unhealthy dad or something, they don't just see that, but they also see your passivity in a sense, So I think, I think not. There's so many adults who have helped shape my kid's life, like Brian and Katie Torwalt, the worship leaders. They're like some of our best friends. They've now known all my kids. Like Paisley was like 3, and it's like Auntie Kiki and Uncle Briney, and they'll have conversations with them. Katie will come take the girls out to Starbucks just to hang out like as an auntie. And some of those conversations are so meaningful and so powerful, and they're so healthy. And sometimes we as parents, we're like, we want to hold. So we're like almost 2,
Yeah.
I get you want to protect your kids. I'm not saying don't protect your kids, but I do think that being intentional to put your kids around what you just said, like, show me the 5 people nearest to you and I'll show you your future, or you are the medium of them. I think that's just very real.
Yeah.
But sometimes we can kind of isolate, and I think life was meant to be done in community. So no matter where you're at, I think community is really what grounds you. Community that knows you is what's able to call the things out in you that maybe nobody else would, because they just don't think they can.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I'd say there.
So good. That's so good.
Okay, last one. And
That's me.
Oh, that's you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you
That's
got
you.
that. I'm taking the power punch.
You feeling a little full?
I'm doing good.
2
actually.
Sandies, 2
I'm
juice
doing
boxes.
I'm doing
You
good, actually. honestly, these jams are really good.
Oh, they're
Like,
good?
I would get in trouble.
Yeah. No, but you can because they're not too bad for it.
And then, do these have to be
You freeze them.
freeze them? Okay.
Yeah, you freeze them, but then you can leave them out of
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm a fan. Okay, last one here. What is the hardest season you've ever been through as a dad?
Oh, man.
And what did your kids learn about you because of how you handled it?
Oh, goodness. The hardest season I've been through as a dad. Okay, I'm just gonna go with what my first thought was.
Okay.
The hardest season that I've been through as a dad, I think would be, I'll say two things. One, I have definitely struggled with anxiety, largely health anxiety around my kids from time to time. I'm a hover parent. We've had friends of ours and heard stories of tragic accidents, and so there's been moments that I have been an anxious wreck. Even like my younger son, he's had a seizure before, and he's had extreme cases of croup and stridor, and scary moments that we thought we were going to lose him.
Wow.
That just kind of put me in this like anxious space, and I think I didn't do the best job and want to do the best job whenever it comes to when anxiety attacks as a dad, showing my kids that I turn to God and Jesus versus myself, or how do I fix this, or because as a man, whenever we're overwhelmed, whether it's I'm stressed out financially, I'm stressed out, there's gonna be so many times as a father that we are stressed or anxious about something, and it's like, what am I turning to in those moments?
Wow.
So I just want to make sure that my kids see me turn to Jesus, not just when things are good, but when I'm really anxious and don't know how the outcome's going to be in bad times.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest. Yeah, I'll just lean in with that one. That would be the biggest thing. Is turning to Jesus and God, and the anxiety.
That's so real,
Mhm.
Cole. You have no idea how many parents can identify with that.
Yeah,
Just
and like I said, because
peace.
my even the next time that happens, I hope I turn to Jesus.
Yeah.
But in previous times, I know that I didn't do the best job modeling that.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
not saying this from a place of like I've done that extremely well, but that's what I hope to do well and that my kids see, because I want them to do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. I would say that I think the reason this question means so much to me is because this we're not promised, and in some ways we are promised that we will go through hard times, that there will be trials and tribulations, and serving Jesus isn't like serve Jesus because then your life will have no problems.
It's almost not like we're not promised good times, but we are promised bad
yes,
times.
yes, we are. I mean, it like storms will come,
Yeah.
seasons will come, and I think when you teach your kids that, when they begin to see you navigate a storm, and you're not trying to hide it from them, necessarily. Obviously, when they're younger, it's all age appropriate, but I think teaching them that life isn't always going to be great.
Yeah.
That we will have problems. It's how we navigate those problems is really important. But for me, I would think the hardest season I've been through as a dad was probably our fourth daughter, Penelope. She just turned 12. When she was born, about 2 weeks later, she came down with like a severe case of bacterial meningitis.
Wow.
She was having like 20, 30 seizures a day, and high fever. It was another one of those moments where we spent like 6 weeks in the hospital,
Wow.
like in the NICU, like just praying that she would survive. And I remember my wife and I, we just took 24-hour shifts. Like we just go, and then she'd come back, and then we'd be with the other kids, and just trying to get through it. And what our kids got to see through that hard season was the community around us. Like, obviously, I'm with Jesus culture, and it was like, dude, the team just rallied. They just helped out. They jumped in, which then allowed us to really focus our energy in our faith into like that whole situation. And it really gave me a compassion for difficult situations with kids. I think that's probably every dad's biggest fear, is like something happening to one of my kids.
Yeah.
It just, I understand bad things happen in life. Please don't ever let that be a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, but watching her go through that and then just going, God, I trust you in this. Like, I trust there's a future here. I trust there's, um, our friends even wrote a song called God With Us, like that ended up being a really great worship song out of that whole experience, where they would just come into the hospital room and just sing scripture over my little girl. So that was probably the hardest season. And I think my kids got to see what community looks like
That's beautiful.
in a real storm.
Wow.
Bro, this has been so good. I'm almost done with my
Are you
last
seeing the
one.
podcast conversation, or the frost has been so good?
Hmm?
The convo's been good, or the frost has been good?
Both have been good. I'm not gonna lie, I think this might be my favorite one now.
I think that's the best. Yeah, if you could only get one, I'd lean into Power Punch. But
Well, because
this has been,
they're all good. You're right about the green one, but the this Power Punch tastes like summer to me.
it is. That's the drink of the summer right there.
Do you
And
know what
not
I'm
just for
saying?
kids. I mean, I'd drink it, right? Like you're out by the pool. That's it.
I just love that there's no manly way to be like,
It's not. You got a juice box.
here's my
Unless if you're that that shows how manly you are. Actually, it's like backwards. Look at that. You did it.
because it's, if you're really enjoying it, then there has to be a slurp, right? Because you're like,
and then you feel even like less. Whenever you're kind
did
of
I get my last drop? Cole, it's been so fun, dude.
This has been the best.
You're a phenomenal dad.
You are, bro.
10 kids, 10 questions, 10 snacks here. We did it. Will you pray us out? Would that be okay?
I'd love to.
I just want you to pray over the dads. And it was Father's Day's coming up. Just pray over the dads, pray over the parents, and yeah, man, pray us out.
Yeah, let's do it. Lord, we love you. I just pray over every single parent and father specifically listening to this podcast right now. Lord, would you, in your Holy Spirit, just touch them where they are. God, I pray that you would touch their heart, that you would move them. God, that your compassion and that your healing hand would just restore them. God, that you would refresh every single father, whether he's exhausted or anxious or overwhelmed or feeling lost and has no direction, whatever it is, Lord. I pray that you would be the refresher of our souls, Lord. I pray that over myself and over Cody, but over every single person listening, God, that they, as silly as it is, over a podcast, God, that your spirit would meet them where they are. And then, God, that you would direct them, direct their steps. God, that you would help us to walk blameless and faith, just totally faith-filled before you. God, you are the purpose. God, you are the reason for everything. And Lord, we love you. We stand in awe of you. And I just pray that we live our lives and open our hands up before you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Cole, thanks for bringing the snacks. Can we cheers?
Cheers.
This out?
That's it.
Boom.
Boom,
Perfect.
baby. Yeah, we made a little bit of a mess.
Awesome.
Gotta clean up here.
Well, happy Father's Day, man.
Happy Father's Day, bro.